The fight about screens usually starts over a device and ends somewhere much deeper. It ends in your tone, your guilt, your exhaustion, and that look on your child's face. Because the real battle is not just screen time on a timer. It is what screens collide with inside an already overloaded parent nervous system. A child asks for 5 more minutes when you have nothing left to give. A teen disappears into a phone exactly when you most need connection. And suddenly the argument is carrying your whole day inside it already. The dirty kitchen, the work email, the school message, the unanswered text, the noise. That is why sensible parents can sound furious over something that looks so small. You are not reacting only to the screen in your child's hand. You are reacting to interruption, helplessness, fear, and the constant feeling of losing ground. And children feel that charge long before they understand the words you are using. That matters because most screen conflict becomes emotional long before it becomes practical. The first shift is noticing this is rarely a discipline problem first. It is usually a pressure problem that finally found a visible target. Screens absorb kids because screens are predictable, rewarding, social, and always available. They absorb parents too, not always through scrolling, but through convenience, survival, and relief. Sometimes the tablet is not a parenting failure at the end of Tuesday. Sometimes it is the only bridge between your breaking point and bedtime. That truth is uncomfortable because parents are told every hard moment should be optimized. Meals should be mindful, evenings should be connected, weekends should be memorable, mornings should be calm. Real life does not move like that, especially when everyone arrives home already overstimulated. And screens slip into that gap between the family you imagined and the evening you got. This is where guilt starts doing its quiet damage inside otherwise ordinary family moments. Not because you do not care, but because you care while running on fumes. You wonder if you are too soft, too tired, too inconsistent, too late. You start measuring love through enforcement, as if good parenting always looks firm and clear. But exhausted people often confuse intensity with effectiveness because urgency feels more responsible than calm. A louder boundary can feel stronger even when it lands weaker afterward. Kids do not only resist limits, they react to the emotional weather around limits. A calm no feels different from a desperate no, even when the words match. That is why the same rule can trigger chaos on Thursday and land fine on Sunday. Children are reading your nervous system more than your speech in those moments. Teens do this too, though they hide it better than younger kids. The phone becomes a shield, but often also a signal for overload. Sometimes they are not choosing the screen over you in the way it feels. They are choosing the fastest exit from school stress, social pressure, and internal noise. And if home feels like another place for correction or disappointment, they stay gone longer. This is painful because parents usually notice the distance before they understand the cause. So they push harder, lecture longer, monitor more, and the silence deepens. Not because the parent is wrong to care this much at all. Because pressure often makes love come out sounding like control to children. And control is what children resist most when the rest of life already feels crowded. Here is the part many parents secretly hate admitting to themselves first. Sometimes screens are not just draining your child, they are exposing your own depletion. They reveal how thin your patience has become after 100 daily demands. They expose how little silence you get before someone needs another answer from you. They show you how often your brain never truly clocks out at home. That is why 10 extra minutes can feel like disrespect, even when it is negotiation. Your mind is not hearing a request, it is hearing one more burden. One more delay, one more task, one more unmet need landing on empty reserves. When parents say, "I am always fighting about screens," they often mean something bigger. They mean I never get to finish a day before the next demand arrives. They mean I am touched out, talked out, decision tired, and still expected to guide. They mean I miss my child while standing 3 feet away from them. They mean I am scared this is becoming our relationship for real. That fear matters because fear makes parents grab for certainty faster than wisdom. More rules, tighter monitoring, stricter consequences, sharper tone, and less room for connection. But children almost never calm down because adults become more emotionally crowded. They calm down when someone brings enough steadiness for both people in the room. That does not mean becoming endlessly patient overnight or suddenly doing this perfectly. It means noticing when the battle has moved from guidance into emotional flooding, and pausing before you keep fighting inside a version of yourself you do not trust. Sometimes the most useful parenting sentence is not another warning at all. Sometimes it is, "I am too activated to do this well right now." That sentence is not weakness, it is emotional leadership under pressure without pretending. It teaches a child that strong feelings can be noticed without becoming the whole room. It also interrupts the fantasy that good parents must never need recovery. Recovery matters because depleted adults interpret normal resistance as personal rejection faster. A child whining after school can sound like criticism when your brain is already maxed. A teen answering with one word can feel cold when you have been worried all day. A request for one more video can feel like proof nobody respects your effort. But overload distorts meaning, and tired parents start reading threat where there is friction. That is why shame helps so little here for anyone involved afterward. Shame does not create wisdom, it usually creates secrecy, defensiveness, or another impossible promise. The parent promises tomorrow will be calmer somehow this time for sure. The child promises they will get off earlier next time without drama. Then life happens exactly the way life keeps happening in modern homes. Somebody is late, somebody is tired, somebody needs help, somebody forgot something important. And the screen becomes the place where the whole system finally leaks. This is why screen problems are often family stress problems, wearing brighter clothes. Not always, of course, but often enough to change how you approach them. Instead of asking only, "How do I control this better?" try a different question. What is this screen doing for my child right now that matters? Relief, belonging, distraction, decompression, avoidance, stimulation, numbing, company after stress or loneliness. Then ask what the fight is doing for you right now emotionally. Is it giving you a momentary sense of control when everything else feels slippery? Is it letting your fear come out as certainty because certainty feels safer to hold? Is it carrying frustration that actually belongs to work, money, sleep, or the mental load? These are not comfortable questions, but they are freeing when answered honestly. Because once the screen stops being the villain, you can finally see the pattern. And patterns are easier to change than shame-soaked identities inside families. You are not the parent who always loses screen battles by nature. You may be a parent trying to regulate a whole house while under-regulated yourself. That is a very different problem than failure or laziness or indifference. And it asks for different tools than punishment alone can ever provide. Sometimes the tool is a clearer transition, not a harsher threat before screens. 10 minutes of connection before asking a teen to unplug can change the landing. Not because you are bribing them with attention first or anything cheap. Because nervous systems shift more easily through connection than confrontation at home. Sometimes the tool is reducing the cliff edge before transitions happen daily. Going from total freedom to total shutdown rarely feels smooth to a child. A warning, a visible timer, or a shared plan can soften the nervous system. Sometimes the tool is looking at your own timing first before conflict. If you only address screens when you are already overwhelmed, the screen will carry your overload. That does not mean perfect planning, just catching patterns before they catch you. Maybe the hardest conversations need to happen Saturday morning, not Tuesday during dinner cleanup. Maybe limits work better when they are discussed outside the fight, not inside it. Maybe your child needs structure, but not when your voice is shaking with accumulated stress. Parents are often told to be consistent, which is true, but consistency gets misunderstood. Consistency is not saying the same sentence with the same tone every night. Consistency is creating emotional predictability, so your child knows where the boundary begins and ends. That predictability matters more than perfect performance from you every single night. Children handle limits better when the adult feels anchored, not when the adult feels cornered. And parents handle resistance better when they stop translating it as evidence of failure. This is especially important with teenagers because distance can look disrespectful from the outside. But a lot of teen withdrawal is protection, not contempt or hatred. They are protecting a fragile self while living inside comparison, performance, and constant exposure. A phone can be the doorway to that pressure, but also the hiding place from it. So when you only attack the phone, your teen may feel attacked with it. That does not mean accepting everything without limits or guidance at all. It means protecting the relationship while holding the boundary instead of sacrificing one for the other. A parent can say, "I know this helps you switch off, and we still need to stop." That sentence lands differently than, "You are always glued to that thing." One creates room for cooperation even when the answer remains exactly the same. The other creates a courtroom and nobody regulates well while defending themselves. There's another hidden pressure inside screen battles that parents rarely name out loud. Many parents are not just trying to limit screens for health reasons. They are trying to compete with something designed by thousands of people to keep attention. That matters because failure feels personal when the system around you is industrial strength. No wonder parents feel defeated when ordinary love is competing with engineered captivation every evening. You are not weak because this is hard for families everywhere right now. You are trying to parent inside a culture that monetizes distraction and calls it normal. That does not remove your responsibility, but it should reduce your shame. Because shame makes you smaller, and smaller parents cannot offer spaciousness to overwhelmed children. What helps is accuracy about what this fight is really carrying tonight for everyone. Accuracy says the screaming is not the whole story in this house. Accuracy says your child's resistance may be clumsy communication, not calculated disrespect. Accuracy says your anger may be overloaded grief in work clothes today. Accuracy says the family is probably tired, not doomed or broken forever. And that matters because families change faster when they feel understood instead of judged. Maybe tonight the win is not perfect compliance with every rule in sight. Maybe the win is ending one conversation without making each other feel like enemies. Maybe the win is noticing your voice rising, then choosing repair before the damage spreads. Maybe the win is saying, "We both need a reset," and actually meaning it. When you start seeing behavior as information, the house can soften without losing structure. Limits still matter, but they stop sounding like war and start sounding like care. So if this battle feels familiar, tell me where screens pinch hardest in your home. And if you want more honest help for the pressure underneath parenting, stay here. Because beneath the screen fight is a deeper family story, and understanding changes everything.